Hello again everybody, this is Ben Robertson here. This is week 5 of this Melodifestivalen mission of mine. That means not only I have heard all the songs, it means all of you have heard the songs as well. It means we should know who's going to win this competition. But we don't, do we? All the stats are saying so many different things. Hannah Firm is winning on Spotify. Anna Bergendahl is winning on iTunes. Dotter's getting more likes and just shouting noise on Twitter. They're probably the front three. The Mamas are just behind all of them. You know what? It's looking like everything is pointing towards Girl Power Festivalen is right here. We're going to have a girl represent Sweden for the first time since 2014. I don't see anything else right now. Let's see if anything changes over the next week. That's why we have Andra Chansen. It's meant to make the race get more exciting. I've been thinking about the voting a little bit and about who's going to win. Because we've got this new app situation. I'm going to write about this more on ESC Insight next week, but how the televote can be so different because iTunes maybe has older viewers than Spotify does. It's a different population than those people who are spamming the like button on YouTube. If all these different populations mean different things, and they like different types of music, does that mean that actually that televote, which is a much better system than the old percentage app based, it really spreads the televote out more, it has a bigger say now. If they all disagree, then that bigger say disappears, and it ends up being a show that gets decided by a 50% international jury again. It could well be so. And now is the tricky thing of trying to work out which of these songs maybe has more jury appeal. Maybe that does indicate the Mamas might come in on the rails and take it. It's an interesting one, because the new system, if you've got 8 different voting blocks of age, as we saw last year, surprisingly large difference in taste from oldest to youngest, and 8 different juries watching in different rooms with different tastes. The jury televote split should be about the same and have the same range of scores, but if all these different proxies say different things, nobody has a clue, and that's great. It means it's going to be really exciting and really, really tight. But I'm here in Andra Chansen week. This is the week when, yay, you lost, but you get to do it again. They're doing it again right here. You know what? This isn't a pointless exercise, Andra Chansen, because there are different ways of winning in Melodifestivalen. Yes, performing here, having a chance to perform once more to 3 million people in one of the 10 most watched shows in Swedish television, that's a win. But I'm also saying that for the long-term win, there are ways of getting slow burn songs to do well and potentially win this competition. If they can overcome winning what I say are incredibly hard to call duels this week, you can have success. Felix Sandman, he performs this week with Boys and Emotions, and it really comes to mind, that one, as a possible grower. It's hooky, it's slick, potentially overly so. It's definitely the kind of thing that could resonate in your head a few times. But he's up against Frida, who's got probably one of the best vocals of the entire competition, certainly the one that impressed me most in the arena. That's going to be an interesting little battle there. If Felix can come through that, I can see a path to get momentum. Same with Paul Ray. It's a ballad very similar to Felix's 2 years ago. Felix had Every Single Day, came through Andra Chansen, ended up finishing second in the final. It took time for that song to grow, to resonate, and if you have this downbeat mood, it does take time for that, because this is a pop competition. Everybody watches this. You have to go to the lowest denominators to get everybody in the population wanting to vote for you, unless you've got more time to settle. And a little ballad like that could find a niche in everybody's home after a few more listens. Not out of the mix there, but then again, Malou Pritz has been in the final before, very likeable performer. She'll get votes, and that is not a clear-cut duel as well. It's always really tough. And what makes it really, really tough is at the moment, all the press bubble, we're trying to work out who was third and who was fourth, because third always plays fourth in these seeded duels. But we think Frida was third in her semi-final last week. That would mean Felix was fourth in his semi-final. That would mean Malou was third in the same semi-final as Felix, meaning Paul Ray was fourth. So, if I pick out those two songs there that could potentially go through and get momentum, that would be an epic momentum change from their semi-final placings if all of our conclusions are correct as a press bubble. Maybe all of us have been in the bubble too long and are getting it all completely wrong. You know what I like though? We don't know. Last year, John Lundvik had an absolutely fantastic and untouchable song, fully deserving of all the jury 12s and every 12 from every adult voting block as well. Brilliant song. But the competition was over. This year, there are lots of people saying Dotta's favourite. I understand that. I probably agree that it's favourite, but certainly not the heavy favourite as it was last year. Definitely a style that was less known to be a jury appealing kind of song or not. And an artist who's, previously in Melodifestivalen finished second last in the semi-final. Is there a big enough voting block here in Sweden for what that produces? On Spotify and iTunes and YouTube, doing well. Not looking like a landslide. Looking like there's more of this story to tell. And I'm very happy to be here to tell it. Anyway, where has this journey around Sweden taken me? I am right now sitting on a lovely little bench just outside the city centre of Eskilstuna. You can probably hear there's a little bit of ice on the ground as somebody walks past me right now. It's only just a short stop from Stockholm, just over an hour, and thankfully I've actually reached the first level of SJ, the train company's reward system, with all the travelling I've been doing around Sweden, meaning I get free coffee on the trains. Except the train I took here wasn't an SJ train, so there wasn't any free coffee for me. Andra has come out here. Andra usually comes out to slightly smaller arenas. We only have about 3,000 people in the arena here. Maybe it's not as exciting to see those who've already lost, And actually, rather than the usual ice hockey arena setup, we're going to a handball arena. The Stiga Sports Arena is known for handball, which is one of Europe's biggest indoor sports. It's not something that's played in lots of countries, but it's a huge sport here in Sweden. Basically, if you've not seen handball before, you throw the ball to each other, you try and run to the other end and throw it in the goal, the other team get it, and they run to the other end and try and score a goal. Up and down, just as much as basketball's up and down. Now, it's the first time, I think, that Melodifestivalen has come to Eskilstuna, but I've been here a few times before. Now, I used to work back in the day for a company called Internationella Engelska. That means International English School. I'm sure even all of you can understand that Swedish. And I work as a school teacher, especially when it's not Eurovision season like now. IES, as I'll call them, they're a big chain of what are called free schools. They're all over Sweden, and basically what they are these privately owned schools, but they're free to enter. Basically, each council gives money to these schools if they take their children. So it is state money, but it's being managed through a private school system. And these schools, unsurprisingly, they focus on internationalism and English. And even before I arrived, they had their own IES Eurovision. EBU, please don't sue them for that name, it's lovely. And every school competed against each other to find the winner. You all know how it works. But the catch was that all these schools are bilingual, English and Swedish. So as a challenge, they had to sing one of the school's modern foreign languages. That could be French, German, Spanish, or actually now, you can even do it in Chinese. The reason I've been in Eskilstuna so much is that it's because the IES school in Eskilstuna, they're basically the Sweden of this competition. Always in the top half, always super professional, just a cut above all the rest. And in part, that's due to excellent students, but they're also their own equivalent of Krista Björkman pulling all the strings for them. And that's a certain Håkan Almqvist. You might have heard that name before. Håkan is a giant of a man, and he's a bit well known in the Melodifestivalen bubble as well. Together with Bobby Lundgren and Ingela Ping Forsman, he wrote Charleken Air and Se på mig, two Melodifestivalen winners, two songs that placed very well in the Eurovision Song Contest. I think Se på mig was third, and many other Melodifestivalen hits as well. And certainly, I had a little check just now, and LinkedIn tells me he's still working there. This competition, you know, and being here, because I've not worked at school for a while, I tell you, we were so close, and Eskilstuna just kept winning over us. One year they won. I actually managed to do what I call a Claudia Faniello. And that's a terrible... I'm going to try it one more time. Claudia Faniello. Get my Maltese accent on there. Because I had two songs of competition from my school. We finished in third place. And we finished second. And Eskilstuna won. And we lost by 4 points. I gave Eskilstuna 10 points as well. There we go. It was a brilliant competition to be part of. So many kids had such a good time. We actually picked our songs from my school in like a school Melodifestivalen. I had hundreds of kids and teenagers stay behind after school to watch this competition pan out. On a Friday as well. It was always on a Friday. Stay behind. You know, you'd want to go home on the Friday, but the kids would stay, watch their peers battle out for who would go through. What a lovely culture it was. In my 4 years running this competition there, I think I had a second, 2/3 and a fourth place. Never the victory, and then I moved on. So close. I guess I'm the Italy of the Eurovision scene in that sense. Interesting little note on my shows, which I'm sure will interest the Insight followers. The song drawn last and the song drawn second in my producer-led running orders were the ones that were most successful. Make of that what you will, everybody. Anyway, I've actually come to Eskilstuna a day later than normal. I'm recording this on the Friday. I've just come down for a day trip. I've got a few interviews today that'll be coming up on the website for next week. But I'm actually going into the arena today to see the rehearsal. I've saw all of the performances on stage before. I want to see the show live, and the press will get access to the show tonight. So I want to see all the buzz and be in the arena, and I'll tell you about that afterwards. What I'm really looking forward to, though, what I'm really excited for, is that in this show, we get to see the Hall of Fame being revealed. And loads of acts have come down just to perform in this special gala show. The show will be 20 minutes longer, I believe, on Saturday night because of the Hall of Fame. I've already seen Måns walking past me already a few minutes ago. So, the whole of Melodifestivalen history is in Eskilstuna for this weekend. And, you know what? I'm actually really looking forward to a little bit of nostalgia. Okay, I am now here inside of the Stiga Sports Arena in Eskilstuna. We've just had the Hall of Fame show and Andra rehearsal. I am now actually in the arena in the little press pen. So what happens after rehearsals and after the live show is that all the artists get these little table to stand at, and the press come and do quick meet and greets of all of them, 2 or 3 minute interviews. Some of them will get put onto TV and the internet and so forth over the next few hours, getting that excitement building up towards the show. This has been a lovely show. Hall of Fame, getting all of these different artists in, Andreas Chansen, Alcazar, Siv Malmqvist, big show at the end from Thomas Ledin and Bjorn Quifts. Wonderful. Good little moments in all of them. A pleasure to see so many of these faces that I've grown up with. I've been watching Melodifestivalen since about 2006, and to see people like Roger Pontare and Marie Lindberg, who are absolute favourites of mine, I get such a warm glow inside of me. And I think that's more the feeling, rather than it being such a spectacular. Lots of people have been watching Melodifestivalen for a very long time are just going to feel so warm and joyful at seeing this on stage. I can imagine my gran, sadly my gran died earlier on this year, but I can imagine her sitting at home watching this, although she's Scottish, so not really, but get the picture, and thinking, I remember when I saw them 20, 30, 40 years ago, and they're wheeling out all of these old famous faces back again onto stage. It's a lovely, lovely feeling. And I was thinking that it's so special here in Sweden because more and more countries are not having national finals. Places like the UK could never do something like this. Even places like Malta, for example, which love the Eurovision Song Contest so much, but if you run an X Factor, you're never going to get a Hall of Fame in the same manner. It's a really lovely feeling. And some of the names I haven't even mentioned, you know, Loreen comes to perform something which is, well, very Loreen, let's say. Måns performs in a Ni Gammal Vals, of course, Sweden's entry from 1966. And he's got a lovely voice for this. I can really see him doing a big band number if we ever want him to return to the song contest. Just lots of little special moments. That nice little warm glow is inside of you. In terms of the 8 acts performing, I'm about 2 meters away from Anis Don Demina right now. Extra pyro in this, lifts it up. Audience absolutely loved it this evening. Felix Sandman also went down very well here. It's nice to have a bit of energy in some of these songs, a bit of life, and to see a public really engage them. It's a much smaller arena here in Eskilstuna, and it feels like, you know, when I go to other national finals outside of Sweden, and it's a really close-in experience compared to Malmö Arena or Scandinavium. So made it for a good special experience, a pleasure for me to really witness it. And there we go, you know, because, well, 4 of these will go through, and I do think the duels are quite tight. The way the age gap works is basically the 30 to 44-year-olds, I go to decide everything. And no, it is that crossover point between young and hip, or do I want my serious ballads and so forth. So it's going to be interesting. And lots of special memories. And I think we're going to get some more special memories in the future as well. Enjoy the Hall of Fame show. It's something different. It's something that might not happen again like this. Something not as big as this. So cherish the moment. Cherish every moment. Cherish the songs that go through to the final.
The ESC Insight podcast from Melodifestivalen was hosted and written by Ben Robertson. www.escinsight.com